There's a map China doesn't want you to see. Not because it's fake, but because it shows a version of the world Beijing says doesn't exist. Maps are supposed to tell the truth. But this one? It's so controversial that entire companies, from Apple to Google, quietly redraw the world depending on where you open it. And it all comes down to one question. Who gets to decide what the world looks like? To most of us, maps are neutral. Geography, not politics. But for China, maps are power. Every coastline, every border, every tiny island is a piece of national identity. That's why Beijing enforces something called the One China principle. One country, one continuous territory, even just one time zone despite spanning the area of 5. It's why Taiwan, Tibet, Hong Kong, and the South China Sea all appear as part of China on every official map. But not all of those claims go unchallenged. Tibet was once a self-governing region, before China asserted full control in the 1950s. Today, any suggestion that Tibet is distinct, even culturally, is treated as subversion. Globes that highlight it separately are banned. Hong Kong, too, was promised autonomy under one country, two systems. But as Beijing tightens its grip, the distinction is being erased not just in policy, but in pixels. On official maps, both regions are fully integrated. No dotted lines, no debate. If a publisher, airline, or app disagrees, the response is swift. In 2018, China's aviation regulator told dozens of foreign airlines to stop listing Taiwan as an independent country. Most complied, from Delta to Qantas, changing their sites overnight. But this obsession with borders has deep roots. It goes back to what China calls the century of humiliation, the 1800s, when foreign powers carved up its ports and influence. Those years left scars. So today, drawing the map isn't just cartography, it's redemption. Still, one map pushes that mission to its extreme. And it's the one the world keeps arguing about. It's called the 9-line map. 9 curved lines looping deep into the South China Sea and claiming almost everything within them. On paper, those dashes might look small. In reality, they stretch across an area nearly the size of India, covering reefs, islands, and shipping lanes thousands of kilometers from China's coast. The claim traces back to a 1947 map by the Republic of China, showing an 11- line. After 1949, the newly formed Communist People's Republic simplified it to 9. But the meaning stayed the same. These waters are China's historic territory. To everyone else, that sea is shared. Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei, and Indonesia all have legal claims under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. In 2016, an international tribunal in The Hague ruled that China's 9-line claims had no legal basis under UNCLOS. Beijing rejected the decision, and that's where the real conflict begins. Because while other nations draw their borders on paper, China builds theirs out of concrete. Since 2013, satellite images have revealed new islands rising from the waves. Sand piled onto coral reefs, runways and radar towers emerging where there was once open water. Officially, these are for research and safety. Unofficially, they extend military reach deep into contested waters. The Spratly Islands, the Paracels, Scarborough Shoal. Each one a pin on the 9-line, each one a foothold in the world's busiest sea. Every year, roughly 1/3 of global maritime trade passes through these routes. Oil tankers, cargo ships, fishing fleets. Control the map and you control the movement. For local fishermen, it's more than geopolitics. Boats from Vietnam or the Philippines risk arrest for crossing invisible boundaries. A few red dashes decide who can earn a living and who's trespassing. These waters don't just carry trade. They're believed to hold vast oil and gas reserves. And yet, while China's actions draw headlines, it's not alone. Across the world, nations quietly adjust their maps too. India shades Kashmir differently from Pakistan. Russia draws Crimea inside its borders. Even Western maps blur certain bases or disputed zones for security reasons. But no other country enforces one vision so globally, from school textbooks to smartphone screens. Inside China, there's only one version of the world, Every classroom globe, every app, every printed map aligns perfectly. Taiwan isn't shown as separate. It's shaded the same red as the mainland. The South China Sea glows with those 9 sweeping dashes. So, when a foreign movie, video game, or brand shows a wrong map, it's treated like defiance. After South Park aired an episode mocking Chinese censorship in 2019, the show was removed from Chinese platforms. An early trailer for Top Gun, Maverick removed Taiwan and Japan flag patches, but the final 2022 release restored them. And the film was never shown in mainland China. It's not only China, other countries censor or ban films too. In 2023, Vietnam banned the new Barbie movie. Not because of the story, but because of a tiny background map. One that showed China's 9-dash line. To Vietnam, that image wasn't fiction. It was a political statement on sovereignty. The studio called it a childlike drawing, but the damage was done, and the film was pulled from cinemas nationwide. We live in a world where a toy doll can spark a geopolitical firestorm. Even global tech giants comply. Open Google Maps in Beijing, and the borders look different from the same app in London. Apple Maps shows Crimea as Russian territory for users inside Russia, but undefined elsewhere. It's not a glitch, it's geopolitics in real time. That's how powerful the map has become, a quiet filter shaping how 1 billion people see the planet. To Beijing, this isn't propaganda, it's protection. The map represents sovereignty, history, and unity after centuries of outside interference. To its critics, it's expansion disguised as cartography. Both are right in their own way, because maps have never just shown where we are, they've always defined who we are. And in an era when most of us navigate with phones instead of paper, digital borders can shift instantly, without anyone noticing. Today, the battle for geography isn't fought with armies, it's fought with pixels. Maps are supposed to guide us, but sometimes they reveal the world's fault lines instead. The map China doesn't want you to see isn't just about lines or islands. It's about memory, power, and perspective. And understanding perspective starts with language. Preply connects you with real tutors from every corner of the world, so you can learn how people actually think, speak, and live. Start learning with the link below. Thanks for watching Mapped Out. If you love strange geography and the stories behind it, you're in the right place. Subscribe for more and explore the world's most fascinating borders, flags, and forgotten places with us. See you next time.